Joseph.
Yes, sir.
I have a conspiracy theory I would like to share.
Okay.
I don't believe they're serious about this SL Code sex crimes investigation they're conducting, where they've deliberately, and let's be honest about it, they were deliberately indifferent to the investigation of crime in Houston.
Yes.
Over the course of like 4 years.
I disagree. They are very serious about covering it up.
Okay. Nevertheless.
And that's what they're doing.
They're having the Internal Affairs Division of the Houston Police Department conduct the investigation. And what I don't think citizens realize is IAD can't really conduct this investigation.
Not effectively, no.
We have something called the Office of the Inspector General, and that's really who they should be using to conduct this investigation. And I want to express why. Number one, IAD doesn't have the authority to subpoena. Mm-hmm. IAD can't force the chief of police to give a statement. Mm-hmm. And IAD cannot force retirees from the department to give statements. So for example, the four main characters in this investigation would be Chief McClellan, who's retired, mm-hmm. Art Acevedo, who mm-hmm. was fired, and Troy Finner, who's the current chief of police, mm-hmm. and then James Jones, who's a retired assistant chief. So the four main people that they would want information from, they can't get information from. So then what are they going to do? So rewind the tape. There's a Commander Conn, C-O-N-N is her name, and she gives a PowerPoint presentation where she explains that sex crimes investigations can't keep up with, mm-hmm. The number of investigations, right?
Because of lack of manpower. Right.
And that's when they start floating the idea, well, how are we going to handle all these outstanding cases? Somebody comes up with the bright idea. I suspect it was Jones who came up with it. And then Finner, nodded obligingly, oh, yes, that's a good idea. And then McClellan thought, oh, okay, that sounds like it's reasonable. And then Acevedo really is the one who put it into practice and procedure.
You just do it, Chuck. You just do it.
Yeah, that's what Acevedo said, yeah.
Yeah, his mantra. You just do it.
Right. And so consequently, I don't think that they have set out to conduct this investigation in good faith with the intent of actually getting to the bottom of,
well, of course not,
the causation of it. And as a result, it's nothing's going to change. They're not going to fix a problem. They're not going to actually cure any defect in the Houston Police Department. And things will just continue on as they were before.
Exactly.
And so, what people don't realize is that there's at least one officer we know of who got suspended for 45 days because she didn't do anything for 4 years. She worked in sex crimes, conducted no investigations, went to work every day, 8 hours a day, and apparently she played solitaire, went to lunch, and watched movies while she was on duty for 4 years. Mm-hmm. So my best guess is that's about 1,200 cases that she ignored over that course of time. And since then, they've now gone back and they're trying to, I guess, recreate these investigations or figure out if these cases are still viable to investigate. What do you think how successful they'll be?
Well, they'll be as successful as they want to be. They've already charged somebody with a sexual assault on one of the cases that was cleared. Lack of interest.
So on KPRC,
so, and to the public, I'm going to tell you, nothing ever happens as quickly, ever, in the Houston Police Department, ever. Okay, it takes 6 months to do an investigation if you're rude to somebody. So why the speed with this case?
Well, I want to talk about that. So overall, 67,533 of the entire 264,000 plus suspended cases have been reviewed. I just want to take this one tiny little nugget. Mm-hmm. Okay. So assume for a moment they've been doing this for 60 days, which I don't believe they've been doing this for 60 days. But assume for a moment that they've been reviewing these cases for the past 60 days. Mm-hmm. All right. So 67,533 cases divided by 60 days is 1,125 cases per day. And let's say they have 20 people working on it. I don't think they have 20 people working on it.
I don't know.
I'm trying to be generous, right? That's 56 cases each officer per day is having to review over the course of 60 days if it's 20 officers reviewing them, which again, I don't believe. In an 8-hour day, that's 7 cases per hour. So if they have 20 officers reviewing these cases for the past 60 days, that's 7 cases per hour.
Well, if you're going to use math.
I don't think that's possible. And that's not
Well, of course it's not. I mean, it's not possible.
That's working every day. That's working every day, 8 hours a day, never taking a day off.
And for people who go, why isn't it possible? Why isn't it possible? Because to open a cold case, you have to reopen it. And that takes a little bit of doing. You have to look at all the witnesses. You have to look at the complainant. You have to look at the suspects, and you have to pretty much re-interview them.
Yeah, you have to call the complainant.
You have to go and get information from them. Okay, and it takes several minutes to read one paragraph, which is, say, the complainant's paragraph, or the witness paragraph, or the suspect. It takes several minutes to do that, and not just peruse through it. You have to read it. You have to understand it. Then you have to go and call people, or go see people. Go hit the street and go see them. It can't be done effectively.
I know this sounds morbid,
in that amount of time.
You have to make sure your complainant is still alive.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly. Complainant is still alive, or the suspect is still alive. The witnesses are still alive. I mean, or they still want to talk.
There's no way they're doing that at 7 cases an hour.
No.
And
not effectively.
Of course. And so if they didn't have enough manpower to investigate the cases as they came in, I don't believe they have the manpower now to investigate the cases after the fact. You see what I'm saying?
It would make sense to me.
Yeah.
And let's say they did put 50 people doing it, right?
All right, where'd they come from?
Exactly.
50 people?
And where do these say 40 people besides the 10 extra of these investigators that they put to investigate these? Where did they come from? I mean, and when I say where did they come from, what do they know about investigating sex crimes? You have to. It's a learning process just to investigate, to learn stuff. Mm-hmm. So that you have 48 people. Just if there was 50, you have 40 people who are just perusing through stuff. And they're not really that sure how to do it. They're not that efficient at investigating sex crimes yet. And sex crimes is a very particular type of investigation.
So let's just say for a moment that the OIG was handling this. The Office of the Inspector General was handling this, right? People forget that the mayor, under the Code of Criminal Procedure, is a magistrate. Mm-hmm. So he's the same as a judge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the OIG could issue subpoenas, right, mm-hmm. in a pre-litigation format under the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure to get people to give depositions. Mm-hmm. And the OIG could drag Art Acevedo in for a deposition, Chief McClellan in for a deposition.
Certainly, a bunch of people.
Yeah, a bunch of people. Those people that I listed earlier, Jones and then Finner, and have them actually give sworn testimony and say, hey, what did you know and when did you know it? Kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they're not doing that.
Well, and I don't know why they would. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a good idea. I'm saying that the investigation doesn't need to be that thorough. There's no crime committed by putting this code into fruition. So found out it's a bad idea and it's morally reprehensible, but find out who signed off on it, not whose idea it was. If it was Con, okay, or whoever idea it was, you can't punish that person. The people who signed off on it.
Well, if you had to think about who do you think came up with the idea of clicking?
I have no clue. I have no clue. I mean, it could be anybody, but it would not just anybody. Okay, it would have to be somebody who's an idiot to think that that's a good thing to do. And I know what I bet you. I say I know. They're trying to think of a way they can CYA the department. So because if we put it lack of personnel, this puts the onus on city council or the mayor because we don't have enough people. It puts the onus on anybody but us. Well, no, that's just not true.
But they literally had officers in sex crimes who weren't doing their job.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's the whole nother video. That's HPD right there. There are people who turn in empty work cards for decades at a time. When I say empty, I don't mean they haven't made some stuff up. Okay. A check by.
Yeah, nothing substantial.
Nothing no crimes, no arrest, barely any reports for decades at a time. You don't believe me? Prove me wrong. I can prove it. Okay, it is rampant in HPD, and that's just supervisory issue. You know, nobody, the HPD, no police departments, it seems, purges themselves. They don't, you know, get rid of bad apples like that. They get rid of bad apples who were, you know.
So I guess the point of my conspiracy theory is if you apply common sense, nothing that the department is reporting makes sense.
No, and it's all a huge show. Do you need a 5-person panel? No, you don't. You go and see who implemented the code. Oh, that lowly officer. Okay, who told you to do it? And then you go up the chain of those people that signed off on it, and you either get rid of them or they're gone. Troy Fenner either knew about it then, but then he gave an order for it to stop, and it didn't. So he did know about it. So it's easy to pin it on Fenner.
And nobody was charged with insubordination for failing to stop it? Not that I know of, anyway.
Not that I know of. It could be. You know, no, we just gave him an idea. Hey,
that's the idea. Somebody's going to get fired for insubordination.
Yeah, and all our tires will be flat now. Yeah.
But they can't subpoena us. So
yes, I know.
The bottom line is I don't think the mayor is actually being serious. Because if he was,
no, not at all.
If the mayor was serious, and I really mean what I'm about to say. If anybody in the mayor's office ever actually listens to this video, he would pick up the phone and start calling retired officers. Hey, can you help me understand what's going on at HPD? And there would be a line out the door, down the stairwell to the sidewalk of retired officers going, this is the problem that you need to look at, and this is how you need to solve it. But they're not really interested because they don't really want to know.
At all. The mayor has a unique opportunity here to change this department, and the morale that he said is at a 50-year low that he knows of. Yeah. He has an opportunity here to get rid of bad apples in the command staff.
And he won't do it.
Or ineffectual or inexperienced apples in the command staff. Send them back to whatever they were doing before.
Yeah. Okay. It won't happen.
It won't happen. That's what I mean. It's all, this is all a political appointment, all political.
Yeah. And so I think we're about to, quote, test the mettle of the mayor now. And it's going to.
One more thing I read in an article is that they're
be a failure.
They're giving 48-hour notices and questioning a whole lot of commanders, a whole bunch of commanders.
Who weren't in control.
Who have absolutely no control over that. You don't understand. It's a captain. Say it's an officer or a lieutenant that came up with the idea. They implement it. That goes up to the chain of command. They sign off on this. Code is implemented. Okay. Can a captain, he doesn't have the authority to say, no, I'm not going to have my officers clear cases that way. He doesn't have that authority because it's not a crime. They're not ordering him to do something illegal. Okay. It's a clearance code. And that's all there is to it. They don't have the authority to refuse at all. They're not that high of a rank. A captain or a commander is a high rank, but not that high. It's the assistant chief and the chiefs that knew about it and whoever it was at legal services at the time. Now, Acevedo brought in somebody to head up legal services, and I think she's still there. Okay. And I've heard from many people she is absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's my
sarcasm.
That's my facetious face.
Okay.
Okay. And I can see her signing off on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and these are the people that won't even talk to officers that are assigned to different. They won't talk to you. They talk to a lieutenant or a captain because you're just beneath them.
Well, I think
there's a lot of that in this police department.
One of the things Mayor Whitmire is going to have to wrap his head around is the faith he may have walked into office with in the command staff of the Houston Police Department is misplaced. And he needs to back away from that and realize that you can't just take for granted that people know how to do their job.
Trust your eyes.
Yeah. And we live here. That's why we make these videos. That's why we care. We live here. Our families live here, and we want them to live in a city that's safe. why we make these videos, because we want the public to understand so the public makes better choices. But unfortunately,
yeah, we sure don't do it for the money or the viewers.
or the
Dozens of people are waiting for the video to come out.
but it's the truth. I mean,
It just needs to get to the mayor. Somebody get this to the mayor.
yeah, and just so he can understand that how obvious the lies are and why he needs to shift the focus of his investigation, and more importantly, the methodology behind it. If he wants to really change things, he's going to have to change the method. So, hey, we look forward to y'all's comments in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate it.
Please
and,
do.
We'll see y'all in the next video.